Hey there everybody, I'm Sigurd Campos, and today I'm going to talk about who I think is the greatest player in the history of the game. This dude was born on December 30th, 1935, in Brooklyn, New York. He pitched for 12 years, made his debut on June 24th, 1955, and his final appearance in October 2nd, 1966. So, he had a 165 and 87 record, 2,396 strikeouts, and a 2.76 ERA. Pretty impressive. The dude was a 7-time All-Star, all consecutive between 1961 and 1966. He was a 4-time World Series champion, 1955, 59, 63, and 65. Then he won the Cy Young Award 3 times in 1963, 1965, and 1966. And there's a weird thing about this. He's the only pitcher in the history of the game to win more than one Cy Young Award during the one-winner era. Impressive. And he's the first pitcher to win consecutive Cy Young Awards. He was the National League MVP in 1963, a 2-time World Series MVP, and he won the Triple Crown 3 freaking times in 1963, 65, and 66, same years. That's when he won the Cy Young Award, of course. He pitched 4 no-hitters. He pitched a perfect game on September 9th, 1965. And it was the first no-hitter by a left-handed pitcher since 1880. That's a pretty long time. He's the youngest player ever to enter the Hall of Fame. The guy entered at 36 years old because he retired at 30 because he had arthritis. And now let's take a look at his numbers in his Cy Young seasons. 1963, 25-5, 188 ERA, 311 innings, in case you were wondering why this dude had arthritis, and a 306 strikeouts. Okay. 1965, 26-8, a 204 ERA, 27 complete games, 335 innings pitched, career high, by the way. I mean, yeah, it's a freaking insane number, 335. And struck out 382, which to this day is the second most strikeouts in a single season. This dude struck out 382 in the 65 season, 57 more than second place, which is a ridiculous differential. And to this day, the record is 383, which was made by Nolan Ryan in 1973. So then in 1966, his final season, he's 27-9, 1.73 ERA, 1.73, a career low for him in his final season. He pitched 27 complete games, same as last year, but it's still a freaking mind-boggling number. And 323 innings pitched, striking out 317. Of course, this dude had to retire due to arthritis in his left elbow. And, you know, the greatest pitcher who was and never was. Of course, if you haven't figured it out yet, I haven't said his name. I'm talking about Sandy Koufax. Very simple. I mean, this guy is probably the greatest player to ever do it. He was the victim of health issues. Arthritis in his left elbow. Of course, he was a lefty. In, you know, his 11th season. Or 12th season. I mean, that's ridiculous. You know, what did the Dodgers know about this guy, for example? You know, that's one of the questions that this brings up. What did the Dodgers know? Did they know they were hurting Sandy Koufax's arm? By making him pitch almost 200 pitches, giving him 2 days rest, and throwing him out there for another 200 pitches. What did they know? I mean, Sandy Koufax, to me, the greatest player in the history of the game. Simple thing. For me, there's no award that's more important than the Cy Young Award. I prefer the Cy Young Award than the MVP, any day of the week. And Sandy Koufax is the only guy to win it more than once in the one-winner era. That means, I mean, if you take a look at 3-time Cy Young winners, Clayton Kershaw would have 2. If we were talking overall league. Max Scherzer would have 1, if any. I don't think he'd have more than 1. Who else do you want to think about? Pedro Martinez? Pedro Martinez would have two. So the only guy to win more than one Cy Young Award in the one-winner era, which means you were the best pitcher out of 30 teams, not out of 15, out of 30, is Sandy Koufax. And that's why I think he's the greatest player of all time. Now, if you look at his career stats, the dude pitched for a 2.76 ERA and struck out 2,396 hitters. I mean, that's impressive considering the innings pitched. He didn't throw that much. He only pitched 11 seasons. But Sandy Koufax, by the time he reached the Hall of Fame, and by the time I'm recording this, there's no one better than him in the history of the game. Of course, modern era, because if you look at the dead ball era pitchers, those dudes were absolutely insane, and they posted some crazy numbers, but that's because they were the only pitcher in their team. They were not part of a rotation. And by the way, what a rotation Sandy Koufax was a part of. In the 1965 World Series, Sandy Koufax pitches against the Twins in a rotation that included three guys. The Dodgers used three starting pitchers in the 1965 World Series. And there's actually an unsung hero there. First off, you had Sandy Koufax, okay? Couldn't pitch game one because of Yom Kippur. That's, of course, one of the most important days for Jews, and you're not allowed to do any activities. And Sandy Koufax, therefore, couldn't pitch game one. Don Drysdale pitches, and he gets wrecked by the Twins. Then Sandy Koufax pitches game two and gets wrecked by the Twins. But who won game three? Who is the unsung hero for the Los Angeles Dodgers? Claude Osteen. Remember Claude Osteen? Does anyone actually remember Claude Osteen? That dude pitched a masterpiece in game three and beat the Twins and gave the Dodgers a chance to win the World Series. And then they were down, and then Sandy Koufax pitches game five and wins it, pitches a really good game. And then he pitches game seven and pitches an absolute masterpiece against a very tough Twins lineup. He wins the MVP, he wins the World Series, and of course that 1965 World Series was a pivotal moment in Sandy Koufax's career. So then in 1966, Sandy Koufax just keeps going and wins another Cy Young Award. And after that, he has to retire. After the 1966 season, Sandy Koufax, who had a 27-9 record with a 1.73 ERA in 66, he has to retire. Arthritis in his left elbow. Crazy. Crazy stuff. I mean, what did the Dodgers know? But there you go. That's Sandy Koufax. An icon, a Jewish icon, a Los Angeles icon, a Brooklyn icon, whatever you want to think about. That dude is a freaking beast. I mean, Sandy Koufax, my goodness. What a player. To me, he's the greatest player that ever did it. You know, he's the greatest player of all time, Sandy Koufax. I mean, Babe Ruth is so overrated. For starters, yeah, he was a pitcher, but he didn't do anything important as a pitcher. He was a good pitcher, but just, I mean, Sandy Koufax wrecks him any day of the week. Now, you can make the argument for other guys. Randy Johnson, he won the most Cy Young Awards ever without using steroids because Roger Clemens is a cheater, a joke, and a piece of crap. You can make the argument for Pedro Martinez. You can make the argument for Nolan Ryan, even though volume is overrated. Nolan Ryan owns the record for owning the most records in the history of the game, and I'm gonna make a video on him soon. So I'll keep you updated on that guy. So Sandy Koufax, there you have it. I mean, the greatest player ever for me. Nobody's greater than Sandy Koufax. And yeah, some guys have more strikeouts than him because he only pitched 11 season or 12 season. Yeah, I mean, he was victim of stuff he couldn't control. So that's why you shouldn't punish him. And look at value over volume any day of the week. Sandy Koufax, the greatest pitcher ever. I have to keep this in under 10 minutes. And that's gonna do it for today. Hope you like, comment, share the video, subscribe, and of course, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye, thanks for watching.